Good morning. This morning we are here interviewing Denver area patent attorney Mark Trenner. Mark has been practicing as a patent attorney in Colorado for almost 14 years, the past 9 years at Trenner Law Firm, and while his practice focuses primarily on helping small businesses protect their inventions with patents, Trenner Law Firm also assists clients to build out all aspects of their intellectual property portfolio, including copyrights, trademarks, and trade secrets. Mark, the National Law Review recently published an article titled Patent Ownership in Germany, Employers versus Employees. Why should our listeners be interested in German patent law?
Well, first let me remind everyone that I'm only licensed to practice as a patent attorney before the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and I'm only licensed to practice law in the state of Colorado. But with that disclaimer aside, this article makes some good points that inventors here in the United States should also be aware of. The article starts off explaining that the requirements of Germany's Act on Employees' Inventions, the ARBEG, which governs how employees' inventions are assigned to their employer, may be unknown by international companies with employees in Germany.
So if I'm not an international company with employees in Germany, should I just stop watching this video?
No, not at all. While there's no uniform law in the United States governing assignment of inventions, that is, every state has their own law here, any inventor who is also an employee should be aware that their company may require that they assign over rights in any invention they make to their employer.
So even though I'm not being paid to develop products for my employer, if I do, my employer may own my invention.
It's going to depend on the specific circumstances, but for example, an inventor should check whether they sign an employment agreement with their employer. If they did, they should carefully read the terms and conditions, particularly if there's any intellectual property provisions. Often, the employee or the employment agreement is going to state what types of inventions have to be assigned over to the company. Examples might include anything developed using the company property or developed on the company clock. In other words, while the employee is being paid to do this type of work. But many employment agreements may go even further than this. So really, it's best to have a patent attorney review the employment agreement with you and give you specific advice to your particular situation.
So what if I didn't sign an employment agreement?
There's other circumstances too in which an inventor may have to sign over rights to their invention to a company that they work for. For example, the inventor may have an independent contractor or other agreement with the company that they work for. That agreement might include some intellectual property provisions similar to those we just discussed for the employment agreement. Or the inventor may have a fiduciary duty to the company. For example, if the inventor sits on the board or is a major investor in a company, they may be obligated to assign rights to any invention they come up with over to that company.
So practically speaking, how does this affect the typical individual inventor?
Well, it's common to get ideas, and this can happen even when you're at work or as a result of some work that you're doing. Even if you're a freelancer or contractor, these ideas may come to you. Oftentimes, the inventor is going to believe that just because the idea was their own, that they should own any patent or other intellectual property rights to that invention. But before paying a patent attorney to prepare and file a patent application for your invention, you really need to first make sure that you don't have any of these prior obligations that might make that might require you to assign over the invention to the company that you're working for.
So should inventors take their ideas to the company that they're working for?
A lot of companies do have procedures in place for evaluating intellectual property internally. Sometimes the company may release those rights to an invention to the inventor to pursue on their own. For example, if the idea has no value to the company, or they're just not interested in it.
Okay. So even if I'm required to assign my invention to my employer, they might let me keep it.
They might, of course. Every company is going to have their own policy, but yeah, it's certainly a possibility.
Any other tips?
Check the employee handbook that you were given when you started working for the company. The company intranet may have some policies and any other materials that they gave you. You just want to determine if there's some procedure in place for dealing with intellectual property internally before you go take it outside of the company. If there is, if you have any of these materials, that can help you determine whether you're going to be required to sign over rights to your invention.
Okay, so even if I'm required to sign over some types of inventions to my employer, I may not be required to assign over other types of inventions.
That's right. An employer may have no interest in your invention if it's completely unrelated to the business of the employer, or an inventor's position with a company. For example, if you're a food server at a restaurant, may be totally unrelated, and so you may not be required to sign over any rights to your invention.
Okay, and I suppose you're going to say you should talk to a patent attorney for specific advice.
Of course, the law governing assignment of ownership rights in inventions is going to depend on the specific circumstances, as most legal situations do. Whether there's a written agreement, and laws can even vary from state to state, so anything I'm talking about may be different in a different state from Colorado.
Gotcha. Well, thanks, Mark. I think that's all the time we have for today. For more information, be sure to visit Mark's website, his Trenner Law Firm website at us-patentattorney.com. You can also learn more about patent law at his blog, ipatentattorney.org. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next time.